College, and want to start with putting you all in the spot, saying what are your expectations? Students only, your parents can't help you, so this is that time when you cannot text, not 160 characters, we want you to speak out. So for students, what are you expecting from this session or expecting from me as you're here this evening? Yes?
To learn about the college essay.
Of course, right? That's why you're here. Learn about the college essay. Anything else anything specifically about the college essay that you're having concerns or questions about? Anyone? Bueller. Only parents got that joke, right? Anyways, I'm going to keep on going there. So, my expectations for you, and it's not just about today, but just in general, that these are things that I, as an educator, expect out of all of you that are sitting here, from our sophomores on up to seniors. Of course, to graduate from high school, so you can visit your top college choices. A lot of times, we make it easier. College makes it a little easier by having all these videos and YouTube videos and tours online, but it's nothing like going on a college campus and getting a feel for the faculty, getting a feel for the student population, walking around, sometimes eating lunch in a dining hall, staying overnight. Who's known that they can stay overnight at a college campus? Okay, a few hands went up. You can actually stay overnight. And you call a college campus and say, hey, do you have an overnight program? Many of them do. They have them established. You can go spend the night. Some of them, even if you're looking at schools from out of state or out of town, they have fly-in programs. That they'll fly students in. So accepted students that are doing well, if they really want you to come in and attend their school, they'll fly you in. So visit colleges, making sure you're at least your top colleges. Apply to more than one college university. Every once in a while, we have a student who will apply for one of our selective programs, and at the end they say, you didn't accept me, and you're the only school I applied to. Not the best idea. You always want to apply to more than one school, and make sure you have your options open as well. Attend college, and of course, graduate from college. That's the end goal. Right, Barron? I have a little activity that I like to do in regards to what do you think is the most important aspect of your college application. You're looking to apply to college, you all have your top schools in mind. What do you think that school is going to weigh as the most important part of your application? Students, you're on. Yes?
Do you like the activities you're involved in?
Activities, yes. So activities, a lot of times we call it activity resumes. Some students don't have permanent or part-time or full-time jobs, so we call it activities resume. So any type of volunteer work you do, any type of work that you're doing, anything you're involved in, you're in a high school musical, you're in the band, you went to band camp, all that good stuff, all those activities. So an activity resume if you don't currently work, so great. What else? What's another thing that they'll be looking for? GPA, yes. Your GPA is very important at any school you're applying to. What else?
The essay.
The essay is very important, yes. GPA, activities, essay. What else do you need? What's an important part of the application? Yes. SAT or ACT scores, yes. Anything else? Well, while we're here today, one of the things I like to focus on is that essay. Is that essay. I have two stories I always tell about the essay. When people think, well, it's really about my 1200 SAT score, or it's really about my 97 high school average. Sometimes the essay is the thing that is the tipping factor, or that will put students over the edge in the positive realm. And when I used to work at one of the SUNY schools, I had a student that applied, and this student wasn't the best test taker, so her SATs weren't very strong. I want to say they were probably around 900 SAT. And for this school, that was not an acceptable SAT score. High school average was probably about an 87 high school average, which was a solid, strong high school average. But for the communications program that she was applying to, she was not acceptable. So one of the things she did was she wrote a really, really strong essay. In her essay, she talked about how she wrote for her local newspaper, and she talked about the stories that she covered. And then she went on to submit those stories that she wrote her local newspaper in her application packet. So she sent all these newspaper articles, and as we're looking at her essay and how passionate she was about writing and being a communications major and all the things she had already done, my thought was, wow, here's a student that's in high school that's already doing the things we want them to do after they graduate. She was well into the process. So I kind of felt like I can't tell the student no. She's a great writer. She wrote a strong essay. I accepted that student. And I can't say it was based on her SATs because they weren't strong. It wasn't about her high school average, but it was pretty much all in her essay because of what she wrote and the evidence of the article she wrote in her local paper that she sent along. I accepted her. The other one was more recent. The other one was probably about 6 years ago, and it was currently at Damon College. I had a student that wrote a really moving essay. And this student was looking to be an educator. She was applying to be an education major. She wrote her essay talking about her experience over the last 3 years in high school. But when I went to this student's high school average, her high school average was about a 75. So I'm thinking, first of all, 75 should not have been at least successful here. I can't accept this student. Her SATs were about 1,000, strong SATs. So I figured there's a story here. Anytime I see a high SAT and a low or below average high school average, I feel like there's a story here. So I go to her essay. I'm reading through her essay, and she spoke about her freshman year being very involved in school, loving the environment she was at, lots of friends. And she talked about her sophomore year, volunteering at the school musicals and being really involved. And she mentioned how in her junior year, how her grades dropped. And she said her junior year, she missed a lot of school, and she had surgeries that she had to go through, and that's why she missed a lot of, she was absent a lot from school. So I went to her transcript and said, well, how many days was she absent? She was absent over 100 days. Again, I'm thinking, there's a story here. So I go back to the essay, and then she talked about how she's back in school now, and everything is going well. And she kind of had a transition that says, well, you're probably wondering what happened. And yeah, I'm reading this essay, really want to know what happened. This student walked to the store on the east side of Buffalo while there was a gunfight, got shot by a bullet, but hit in her back, was paralyzed. So after she went on to miss school, she had multiple surgeries. Fast forward to her senior year, she's back in school, her grades are coming back up, her attendance is up, and she's applying to Damon College. I'm reading this thinking, I can't tell this student no. It's not about she doesn't have the ability to be a good student. She had she was shot, she's paralyzed now. Now she wants to go back. Long story short, because of her essay, I accepted her. She did graduate, she's currently a teacher right now. So at times, your essay is the one thing that can really take you over the top. Don't count yourself out and say, I don't have the grades for this program, I can't get into this school. That essay for those two students, with my personal experience, was the thing that brought them over and why they both got accepted. And they both were successful after that. So I feel like having a holistic process is really important, but the essay was key there. So, other reasons why the college essay is important. 25% of the students' chance of entering college depends on their essay. Providing an authentic essay gives a student a better chance of getting their application to the top of the stack, the tip factor. And it is a sense of power to be able to tell your story. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a reason why they're writing their essay, a reason why they want to go to a particular school or a particular program. I put this up here because it's a program called College Summit. It's a national program. And when President Obama was in office, he actually gave some of his Nobel Peace Prize money to the College Summit. Damon College has partnered with College Summit for the last 6 years. The reason why I mention them is they have a summer writing intensive program. They spend all summer, but the program is only for a week. So they have a week of students on our campus. All they're doing for that entire week is writing their essay, doing another draft of their essay. They have college coaches helping them to write their essay, writing coaches, and students that have come through the program. So they really felt it was really important about the college essay that they really spend time with students doing that. While you may not be able to be involved in College Summit, there are multiple programs out there that will kind of help you along the way with your essay. So it is programs that realize how important that is. What makes a good essay? Students make a mistake of guessing what admissions officers want to hear. The difference between a compelling essay and a run-of-the-mill one is the integrity and sincerity of the student's voice. A good application reads like a good book. It has plot, it has character, it has development, it has twists and turns, it has humor, it has pain, and other sublime subjects. There's a balance of description and reflection, and energy and vitality is reflected. So when you're writing your essay, You want to make sure that it's not just an essay about writing your college essay. You want to make sure that they get to know you a little bit more. They get a better idea of who you are and why you want to attend that institution. So what should you write about? Your favorite book, your leadership ability, leadership involvement. So many of you are on teams, be it basketball, swim team, you're in different clubs. You can write about your leadership in those clubs. Why this major? What majors are represented here? What majors are you thinking about? Anyone? No wrong answers. Yes. Education. Be able to write and tell them why you want to be an educator. You know, you just don't quote, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess. They probably heard that one before. Yeah. What other majors are represented? Yes. Culinary. That's one of my favorite. People talk about the freshman 15. I tell them, don't worry about it. It's about the alumni 50. So culinary is also, it's about the passion you have with the field that you want to go into. When I first went to school, I started off with a social work major, and I changed from social work to education. But it was about, I wanted to help people, I wanted to work with youth. And I love my social work classes, but I started to realize in my social work classes that by the time they come to me as a social worker, they have already been through so many things that if I'm a teacher, I can help them because teachers are mandated reporters, which means if you're a teacher in the classroom, if anything is happening with that student and you know about it, you have to report it. So I felt that was a better way for me to get in touch with what was going on with those students early on. The experience that you have learned from or have made you the person you are today. We've all had those experiences that, you know, it's just, you think about all the time, you think about what made you as strong as you are or why you're going on a certain path. So those things are good things to write about. As we talk about things to write about, the next important thing is to know things you should not write about. And I put question marks on the bottom ones, we'll talk about those in a second, but the first one is championships. You know, basketball team, we practiced all season, we had a great season, we worked really hard, we won the championship. You know, it's almost like a predictable story. So while it may be really empowering, that's, you know, something that we've all seen and we've all heard before. Don't write about your boyfriend or girlfriend. Bobby's going to Penn State, I'm going to Fredonia, I'm going to miss him, but I think the education is bad. Don't worry about your boyfriend or girlfriend. Again, don't write about your essay, your college essay about writing your college essay. I say family members, religion, faith, question mark, politics, question mark, because there's always good stories there, so I don't want to rule it out totally. But with a family member, I have read some great ones with regards to healthcare. Dayton has a lot of healthcare programs. One recently, even this year, was a student that wanted to enter into our physician assistant program, and it was because her grandfather had been diagnosed with cancer, and the trips back and forth to Roswell, and seeing how the nurses worked and the PAs worked with her grandfather, she felt like, wow, this is what I want to do. I want to be a PA. They did so much for my family, work with my granddad. That's why she wanted to do it. So when I read that story, it was really moving, so I can't count family members totally out. But again, it has to be that essay that really has meaning to you. You have to feel passionate about it. Religion and faith. Depends on, sometimes the school where you're applying to, of course, if it's a school that's based in a Catholic institution, that'd be the best thing to write about. If that's a part of who you are, and that's a part of what makes you get up in the morning, well, that's what you're passionate about, and I can't say not to write about it. Politics, you know, people say don't even talk about politics at work sometimes. So politics is always a touchy subject. You're writing about how you believe Trump is doing an amazing job, and the admissions counselor is looking at that saying, they can put their personal influence on there, or vice versa. You can say something negative about our president, and the counselor says, what? I can't believe you did this. Based on that, I don't think you'll be a good fit for our political science program. So you never know. You don't want anyone's personal opinion to come in and sabotage. Is that right to do? No. But people are human and things do happen. Any questions of kind of moving through these? Yes?
Do you think acceptance rate is higher for students who have a specific and clear academic path, or students who are uncertain? Should students have a clear, specific academic path?
Great question. Great question. I don't think the acceptance rate is higher based on that. because about 25% of the incoming class at Damon comes in undeclared. And that's that student that really says, you know, I really don't know what I want to do. I love the environment. I want to come here and study. So I wouldn't say it's higher, but I will say we still have students and sometimes high school counselors telling students, well, that's a really tough program to get into. So instead of applying to that program, apply undeclared, get in and change your major. That can be dangerous because some programs have caps and some programs have interview requirements. And if you were to do that, you can find yourself in a school and not have an ability to get to that program you want. But I think if you're truly undeclared or undecided and you're not sure, I say apply that way. Because now, most schools now will put you in a first-year program or an exploratory program will give you classes in different areas or disciplines that will help you to find out what you want to do. You take a class in social work and say, oh, this is just what I want to do, or this is not what I want to do. You take an education class and say, wow, this is exactly it. So sometimes if you do that, you still have time. Most schools, you're going to have at least 3 semesters to take an undeclared program before you have to go into a particular major.